Welcome, Dark Warriors. Oh, fuck. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Hold on a second. Does it work now? Does it work now? Okay. Welcome, Dark Warriors. This is RuminInLove. Today I'm going to be doing a little mini review of Star Ocean 2. This might become a normal thing at the end of my Let's Plays from now on. So I might do a little review afterwards, just so I can give thoughts that I couldn't give during the credits. The reason why I'm calling this a mini review is because I've only played this game once, so my thoughts are not as grandiose or as finalized as someone who's going to, you know, play this game multiple times for a review, you know? Like, I literally just beat this game, and I haven't even played Rena's story yet. So yeah, this is just a little review. A first impressions, if you will. This is basically unscripted, so let's get started. The way I thought Star Ocean 2 started out, I've heard a lot of people say that Star Ocean 2 starts out slowly. Honestly, I disagree with that. I thought the game had a very quick start to it, personally. Like, if you choose Claude's story, almost as soon as you turn on the game, you're actually controlling him. Like, you watch a short cutscene and then, bam, you're in control. And then shortly after that, you're fighting a monster attacking a blue-haired girl named Rena. So I actually thought this game had pretty quick pacing. Like, sure, you're in the first town for a bit, but during your first playthrough, I don't think it's really noticeable how long it takes. And during your second playthrough, I doubt you're going to be there long at all, because then you know what you're finally doing. So you can get out of the first town pretty quickly and into the overworld where there's a lot of monsters to fight. Like, I think this game throws you into it really quickly. Like, I don't agree with people who say that this game is slow-paced. I think the combat in this game is amazing, personally. It is very unique. You basically have 4 characters that you control individually. So if you're playing as Claude, your other 3 team members will be automated and a computer will be controlling them. But you can then switch to one of your other partners. So if I'm playing as Claude and then I switch to Celine, I'll be playing as Celine, and then Claude will actually be controlled by the computer. So there's a lot of variety with how you can play, which is really nice. Like, every character in this game controls completely different. However, I heard that Diaz controls basically the same as Claude, but I haven't actually unlocked or controlled Diaz in battle myself yet, so I'm unsure how he plays. There's this thing called crafting you can do, where if a certain character has a certain skill set that you got them, then you can actually have your character make a better weapon or better healing supplies or whatever have you. And if you get good at crafting, you can actually make the game easier for yourself in case you find the game too difficult, even though I personally didn't think the game was that hard without it. So while I personally don't really care about all the crafting and all the specialty stuff like that, it is there for you completionists out there. And the cool thing about it is that the game does not make you do it. You can choose to pickpocket NPCs, get some better items like that, make better food, make better gear. You know, you can craft a lot of stuff like that, but it is not necessary at all, and you can find other ways to deal with the more troublesome parts of this game. The cool thing about this game is that you can play it pretty much however you want. Like, you don't even have to play as Claude if you don't want to. And Claude's the main character in his part of his story, and you don't even have to play as him if you want. Like, you can go off and play as Ashton or Pracy if you want during battle. Swap Claude out for Bowman, and almost every character plays completely uniquely, which is just great. It had so much replayability. Something that I was not expecting this game to be was long. I played Star Ocean First Departure, and that game is very short. Okay, it's not very short, but it is short. For an RPG, it's pretty short. But Star Ocean The Second Story is about twice as long, maybe even longer than the first game is. If you're playing the PS1 version, then you're gonna have to swap the disc out in the middle of the game because it's a 2-disc game. And the second disc is where things get good. I mean, yes, disc 1 is pretty good, but disc 2, that's when things get crazy. Overworld travel by the second disc might be getting a little bit tedious, so the game actually gives you a bird, a giant metal bird. It's really cool that you can actually, like, use to fly around the world. You also get scouting abilities that help you reduce the encounter rate. But in my honest opinion, I think you should keep the encounter rate default because that helps you retain a good level throughout the game. But that's just what I did on my first playthrough. Like I said, I only played this game once, so I don't really know the absolute optimal way to go through it. And then there's the story. This game's story from Claude's story, I only played Claude's story so far, was beautiful. This game's story, in my personal opinion, is so much better than First Departure's story. First Departure being the same plot that was in Star Ocean 1. I'm not going to spoil anything, but basically, this game could make a certain type of person cry. I believe this game is capable of making someone have that sort of emotional response to it, in my opinion. I didn't cry during it, but I can imagine in an alternate dimension I could have maybe welled up a little bit. That's just how emotional that this game can be at times. The soundtrack really does add to it. Like, the soundtrack just chills all over the place. In my personal opinion, it's a better soundtrack than the first Star Ocean game, but that's just me. And the way this game ends is so tragic yet cool. I don't want to spoil anything, but it has like the coolest end battle ever. That's all I can say without spoiling anything, if I'm being honest. I don't know what else to say that wouldn't just be spoiling it. So yeah, this game pretty much has it all. It has the emotion, great story, has amazing atmosphere. I didn't really talk about that, but the atmosphere is great. The dungeons are better than they were in the first game. I do like some of the dungeons. I thought there were some pretty clever puzzles in this game, actually. I actually thought this game got pretty creative with its dungeons. Like, every dungeon, and there's a lot of them, every dungeon is visually unique and has unique level design and layout and unique enemies for the most part. So it helps things stay non-repetitive. Every time you beat a dungeon, the game does not teleport you outside of the dungeon. You instead need to backtrack out of the dungeon yourself, and some of these dungeons can get pretty long, so I can understand why that would be annoying, but I didn't mind it too much. And then there's the private actions. I don't even know why I haven't mentioned the private actions yet. The private actions are really cool. They're basically this thing where you can go into a town and then you can talk to your recruitables. So these are the people on your team with you, and you can talk to those people as if they're NPCs in the town. So for example, you're playing as Claude and your mage is Rena. You can talk to Rena like she's an NPC in whatever town you want. And this really fleshes out all the characters, because your team members' dialogue is way more interesting than every other generic NPC's dialogue. So it really helps keep the game fresh. Like, it feels like you're talking to new and interesting NPCs, but no, you're just talking to your team members. And it really helps flesh them out, give them good character. Every recruital has a unique personality, which is nice. Like, all of them are completely distinct. None of them are just clones of each other, except maybe gameplay-wise, they're a little bit cloney of each other. Like, you know, there are different mages and stuff like that. Diaz is similar to Claude, but they are all unique, and private actions are very fun. The soundtrack, amazing. Characters, amazing. It's all very good. But my biggest complaint about this game, honestly, my biggest complaint about this game is something so small that I don't even feel like it's worth mentioning, but it does bother me, so I am going to mention it. In combat, you have a drop-down menu where you can use items, and for some reason, the game decides to keep the unusable items that are in the pause menu in the combat drop-down menu. So if you pull down the drop-down menu and you want to heal yourself using stake or something, which can heal you in the overworld, you won't actually be able to use the stake in the combat. So I'm sort of sitting here wondering why they even put the stake there in that specific menu in the drop-down menu to begin with. Like, why don't they just keep that in the normal pause menu? Like, why show it to me if I can't use it during combat? Like, why even give me the hypothetical option that I can't get to or reach? Like, come on. And there's this broken item you can get. Actually, it's not like super overpowered because it's really expensive, but there's a drink called a seltzer, which increases magic by 90%, which would be super awesome and super helpful, but you can't use it during combat. But you can still see it in the menu during combat. So it's like, why are you showing it to me if I can't use it? The menu's a little bit cluttered is what I'm saying. But besides that, I thought this game was amazing. 10 out of 10. I highly recommend it. This is just my basic run-of-the-mill thoughts at the current moment. Like I said, I just beat this game, so my thoughts are not as expert as, you know, someone who's played this game since childhood. But I did think it was a great game, and that's my final score. I give it a 10 out of 10. Honestly, 10 out of 10. It's great. It is much better than Star Ocean First Departure. It is leagues better than that game. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, Dark Warriors. This is a good way for me to give more thoughts after playing the game. This way I don't have to think too hard about what I need to say during the credits of the Let's Play. This way I can actually just record later and give proper, better thoughts than whatever jarbled mess of English I give at the end of my Let's Plays, you know? So yeah, this may be a regular thing. So yeah, thanks for watching, Dark Warriors. Bye.